Hi, it's Dwyer, gamblersadvisory.com. There are many loaded divisions in boxing, but the welterweight division, 147 pounds, might be boxing's best. The division is absolutely flooded with talent. Of course, you have the best Floyd Mayweather. You have Manny Pacquiao, who just won Fighter of the Decade. You have Sugar Shane Mosley. You have Antonio Margarito. You might have, if you believe him, Paul Williams. You have Andre Berto. In Turkey, they are very happy with Selçuk Aydin, the European champion. You have the guy who I think beat Aydin in his last fight, Jojo Dan, right? You have Saul Alvarez. This division is packed. Even 154-pound champion Miguel Cotto is talking about dropping a few pounds and coming back to the welterweight division if the money is right. And of course, you have Joshua Clottey and possibly, if he wants to gain weight, to fight again at 147, Zab Judah. Now, into this great mix comes two fighters. The unbeaten 140-pound champion, Timothy Bradley, and he's fighting an unbeaten Argentine, a knockout specialist, Luis Abregu. The fight, and this is significant, is taking place in Timothy Bradley's backyard. I like Timothy Bradley in the fight. Just like in analyzing a fight, you look to see whether a fighter has a good stiff jab. That's the same way you should also look to see whether the fighter has a bad stiff leg. And I believe that Luis Abregu, unfortunately for him, leans far too heavily on his left leg. His left leg looks awfully stiff. He looks like Felix Trinidad in that he needs to set up. He looks like Kelly Pavlik in that he needs to set up. He needs to have his base under him. He needs to have his weight over that lead leg in order to throw his power shots. And just like many have found out against Manny Pacquiao, when you're fighting a mobile fighter who is faster than you are, he's not going to sit around and wait for you to get your weight just right over your left leg so that you can hit him with your power shots, right? A faster opponent is going to see you setting up for your power shots. He's going to hit you several times. He's going to move to the side. He's going to get out of there. Timothy Bradley has the much faster foot speed. He has the much better footwork. He doesn't need to set up like Abregu does. He has the better balance. I believe he's the better fighter. I think he enters 147 pounds with a win over the previously unbeaten Abregu. I like Timothy Bradley in this fight. Let me also point out, too, that just like in football, American football, where if you have the other guy's playbook, you have a distinct advantage. Just like in war, if I know where you're going to attack, if I know your battle plan before you actually execute it, I can prepare and have an advantage. That's the same way in the ring. Fighters who, have stiff legs, who need to literally lean on a leg and set up shop and have their balance under them, cock, lock, before they fire, they're at a disadvantage against the machine gun shooters in the sport. And you saw how Emmanuel Stewart helped Miguel Cotto with his footwork prior to Cotto's victory over Yuri Foreman, right? This fight is like that fight to some degree. Cotto, before he hired Stewart, was a little bit stiff-legged, didn't have the mobility and balance that he seemed to have in Yankee Stadium last weekend. right? Unfortunately, it doesn't look like Stewart's available to work with Luis Abregu. I think Abregu is going to make the same mistakes that Cotto made against Manny Pacquiao. This is like that fight where Cotto was chasing a ghost. He was trying to fight a much faster fighter who could literally dart left, dart right, come in, hit him with combinations, and then back away before Cotto could reload. I believe that's going to be the pattern of this fight. I like Timothy Bradley. Now let's talk actual betting strategy, right? Stay away from the prop, and I know it's tempting, but stay away from the prop that says Bradley by decision. You just want to take Bradley to win the fight. You don't want to limit yourself to Bradley by decision. Why? Because Luis Abregu has been down in both of his last two fights. On YouTube is a fight between Abregu and Irving Garcia. And you're going to see that Abregu is down. It's not a flash knockdown. He can be countered. In his last fight, he was down in the second round. Whenever you're dealing with a fighter who has blistering hand speed like Timothy Bradley, just keep in mind that that fighter doesn't have to knock you to the canvas to actually have the fight stopped by TKO. All he has to do is throw so many punches, just like Manny Pacquiao did to Miguel Cotto in the 12th round of their fight. All he has to do is throw so many punches that his slower-handed opponent looks like he's defenseless. Think Joe Calzaghe, Peter Manfredo, round 3 of their fight, right? All the quick-handed guy has to do is to overwhelm you, and the referee might well step in and stop this fight. So I think Bradley by KO is risky. My recommendation is that you take Bradley simply to win the fight. Abregu is a power puncher, does have a puncher's chance. If you want to insure yourself against the possibility of Abregu getting lucky and getting a lucky punch, especially knowing that Bradley has been down before, most notably twice against Kendall Holt, then you want to straddle Bradley simply to win the fight with Abregu by KO. I do not see any way that Luis Abregu can win this fight by decision. I believe shrewd gamblers will eliminate that outcome. Also, let me say this. Just like Devin Alexander, Luis Abregu throws a vicious uppercut. So Timothy Bradley really has to be on his horse in this fight. He cannot stand right in front of Abregu. He has to force Abregu to move, just like Manny Pacquiao forced Miguel Cotto to move. He has to force Abregu to move, and he has to be either on Abregu's right shoulder or left shoulder, right? He can't stand in front of him because that's the only way that Abregu can win the fight. So I'm expecting Bradley to do just that. I am expecting a Tim Bradley victory, and I am expecting some chaos and some consolidation in the 147-pound division. Let me know what you expect. Leave your thoughts for me here and at gamblersadvisory.com. And as I always say, if I'm wrong, punish me in the ratings here on YouTube. And yes, I've heard from quite a few of you after picking Yuri Foreman over Miguel Cotto. Punish me in the ratings here on YouTube if I'm wrong, but if I'm right, give me 5 stars or a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.